Hi everyone, Larry Satchwell on a beautiful spring afternoon. It's April 17th. It's in the mid-70s. As you might see, I've already broke a sweat. I've been pulling some weeds in the flower garden. But today I'm going to put in the vegetable garden. Got my tomato plants from the greenhouse next door a couple of weeks ago. Been bringing them in and out. 2 days ago it was 36 degrees in the morning. April 15th is our average last frost date here in my part of Georgia. But for the next 10 days, I looked at the forecast, it's not going to be below 50. So this is a perfect time. We have a little bit of rain coming in tonight and tomorrow morning, and then more rain coming in on Sunday. So this is a perfect time to get these plants in the ground. Let's go. I'm going to plant my tomatoes on 2-foot centers, and the first thing I'm going to do is dig a hole. And these tomatoes are nice and leggy. What I mean by that, they've got a nice long stem. So I want to make sure that hole is at least deep enough to put most of that stem. So this one needs to go a little bit more. So what I have here is a bucket of sphagnum moss. I like it because of its water retention properties. So I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of that on there. It will double or triple in size once it gets wet. Now I'm going to add some Job's vegetable and tomato organic fertilizer. Sprinkle a couple of handfuls on there. It's got some bone meal in it too. And then I'm going to mix that up really good. Now I'm going to plant 12 tomatoes today, and I'm going to do the same procedure for every hole. Once I get all the holes dug, while it's empty, I'm going to fill it full of water at least a couple of times. That'll let all the water spread out evenly throughout this bed before I plant the tomatoes. So, unless you want to stick around and watch me dig 11 more holes, I'm going to turn the camera off. I have all the 12 holes dug, and that with the sphagnum moss and the fertilizer yielded me a full wheelbarrow full of enriched dirt. And now I'm going to fill these holes up with water. They'll drain out pretty fast. So by the time I get back down here, this one's drained out. I have some burlap left over from the House of Vines, and I'm going to spread that out as far as it'll go. I don't think it'll go very far. I have a variety here called Mariana's Peace. It's from Pine Tree Seeds. Got a really nice root ball on it. I'm going to take my scissors and just clip off these bottom leaves. This whole stem will be full of roots. And then I can transfer it down into the hole. Wish I'd made that hole a little bigger. The burlap is just on here as one extra layer of protection. If I had enough burlap to go over the whole garden, I'd do it, but I didn't. I don't, and I don't intend to buy any more. All right. Now I just transferred the mixture out of the wheelbarrow into this bucket, so it's a little bit easier to handle. And I'm just going to scoop that in. And the beauty of the peat moss is that it will double and block out any air holes once I water this again. You know, Larry, you got a pair of scissors right here, you idiot. So once the tomatoes are planted, I'm going to give them another good drink or two. Let this soak in. I bought this wheat straw in January and left it out here, so it is well on its way to being rotten, and all the seeds I think that'll germinate have been germinated. One of the things you want to be aware of is if you get the leaves of tomato plants wet on the bottom, they will get blight, and that's splashing up the soil. That's why I put down the burlap. That soil that splashes up will cause blight, and the leaves will turn yellow. It's best to take those off right away. Don't put them in the compost pile, put them in the garbage. That can be avoided or at least prolonged if you water them down at the base, or avoid the dirt splashing up by putting burlap, newspapers, cardboard, something as a mulch around them. So on to the squash and zucchini. Well, I'm back at it today. Yesterday, before I planted this squash and zucchini, I went up to the house to get a drink and thought I'd catch a little bit of the news. And we had no TV reception. So I spent the next hour and 44 minutes with the Comcast guy, who was very nice. Actually, it was the first time I'd ever been able to talk to a real person. He lived in Chicago. They had a lot of snow, but he couldn't help me. So I came back out and planted this without recording it. I didn't use the whole bag of the organic fertilizer on the tomatoes, so I used about a handful, a little less than a handful on each one of these zucchini and squash plants. We did get a good rain this morning, and we're going to have a thunderstorm tomorrow morning. Well, that's going to wrap up this garden update. Everything's planted, so it's just a matter of time. I'll do another update early next week to show you the results of the PVC planting. It was very successful, and give you an update on what's going on here. Come back often. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.